Initiating podcast download. Prepare yourself. Put on your spandex. Lace up your boots. Wrap your wrists. Hide your razor blade. Head to gorilla position. Grease up your hair. Apply baby oil. Okay, apply more baby oil. Get into gimmick. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Have fun and be safe out there, brother. Welcome to Iron on Wrestling. Now your host, Gregory Iron.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome.
Pardon the interruption.
Iron on Wrestling with Gregory Iron. Good. You didn't. My name is Gregory Iron. This is episode 279. And,
girl, you fine. Ooh.
Okay. Amanda Bynes.
Yeah,
probably used
her and I were friends for a minute.
Yeah, you guys were, yeah. Yeah, what happened to that?
I think I went crazy, or she went crazy, or both of us went.
Yeah.
I don't know if we went crazy. I just think we were crazy. Yeah. But not crazy in love.
What a time to be alive when she's like tweeting at you and Drake at the same time.
At least I don't have anything to do with A minor.
Okay, wow.
He not like me. He not like me.
Thanks for stopping by again this week. Checking us out. We got a lot of questions to answer from you guys on social media, but we're also in the extended version of the podcast going to go a little bit more in depth about the Royal Rumble. We're going to answer a couple questions about the Royal Rumble, but it was a pretty interesting weekend for pro wrestling, both for people watching the Rumble and people going out to see me. I was in Pennsylvania this weekend. I don't know how to say it. Charleroi? It's like
a way to start
little
off.
Town in Pittsburgh.
You're
what
the
about
lead.
It? Why am I the lead?
I don't know. You're leading right now.
Oh, all right. Well, you know.
Yeah, this is what people tune in for. They're like, what pay-per-view? What PLE? I want to hear what Greg's indie wrestling did.
Okay.
So, how many were there?
Well, it was a tiny crowd.
Yeah, an intimate crowd.
For the show that I did on Saturday, that ran directly opposed the Royal Rumble.
That is good booking right there.
I would assume they booked the show first before the Rumble.
Yeah. And then they were like, we ain't backing down.
But you know what? Crowd was into everything. And, a good time there for the MVP wrestling out there. And then Sunday.
MVP was wrestling out there?
No, he was not there. It was called MVP Wrestling, Monroe Valley Pro. So if you're in that area in Pittsburgh-ish, please go out and support them. But on Sunday, I was in Alpha One Wrestling in Canada. Me and my brother Snackery, Zach Thomas. We went out there and did our thing. He was in a scramble. I was in a six-man tag match. And it's always nice to see my fans there in Hamilton. But, the fan in me was a little upset that I wasn't watching the Rumble live as it was happening.
Yeah, I felt bad for you the entire time. I kept thinking, I'm going to text Greg right now. And I had to stop myself because there were times where I was legitimately going to text you. And then I remembered, you had asked previously, please no one give me any spoilers. I will murder your face.
In the locker room on Saturday, literally there were people around an iPad watching it. And they're like being all loud about stuff. I said, please do not shout out any spoilers. I will hurt you for real.
And they were like, yeah, whatever, fake pro wrestler.
Okay, yeah. Somehow I managed to not see any spoilers before I watched the show live, which is crazy. But, before we continue with the questions and then eventually talk about Rumble stuff in the extended one, shout out to our 2 Royal Rumble pool winners.
And I have no idea who won.
You don't know who won?
No.
Well, it was... It just happened to be, we had a lot of people outside of Patreon, but Patreon people got priority, so that means we picked Rumble numbers for them first, which is why it's important to be early. Patreon.com/Iron Wrestling. You get priority over there, $3 gets you in the door, and, you guys are like family to us. So, Eric, won one of the Rumbles.
Eric!
He had...
congratulations!
Okay. He had number 27, which was Charlotte Flair, so he won the Women's Rumble. And then a good friend of the show, Sammy Daddy, he had number 20, which was Jey Uso. So they both won $150 each.
Wait. Jey Uso won the Rumble?
He did, yeah.
Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting that.
Did you not watch the...
Yeah, but I thought maybe I watched like a fake version.
What did you think happened?
At first I thought Jimmy Uso won it.
Why would you think that?
Because he looks just like his brother. They're twins.
Well, they've very much distinguished which one is who.
Yeah, because one of them has a song that says, "Just me, Oos," and the other one has a song that says, "It's only me, Oos."
No, the other one's like, "Ooh, so I was born a king," something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Yo, hey, before we get to the questions and we talk about the Rumble in depth, there's a lot of fan backlash on social media about Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble.
A lot of fans are idiots.
Like right now, I think on the YouTube video of Jey winning, there's like 33,000 dislikes or something as we record on Monday. Why? Why do you think that is?
People think they're smarter than WWE.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, I don't want to see, people wanted either Cena, which is surprising to me because...
After all these years of the same people that are disliking...
They were pissed when he won the Rumble in the past.
Right, yeah. The ones that are disliking this video now that also hated Cena 10 years ago are now like, I thought Cena should have won.
Punk. They wanted Punk.
Sure, yeah.
And, they're upset about that. They wanted predictability. So they're also the same fans that disliked Charlotte Flair's YouTube video of her victory.
Yeah.
What are you going to do, man? Who gives a shit? I thought it was excellent because nobody was really expecting it. I mean, I'm the only one probably that predicted it right here on this show last week, that it would be Jey Uso and Charlotte Flair.
Well, I don't think you did that.
Man, come on, work with me.
I don't think... Oh, you did. And so you'd have to go back and listen to the show last week to find out for sure.
I'm lying.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see the problem with Jey winning. And,
Dude, as soon as you saw 60, 70,000 people doing the yeet up and down arm motions.
Listen, when I came down to like 6 guys and Jey was one of them, I said to myself, I could see this being Jey because thinking like, business-wise, WWE, A, Jey Uso's hot now. Who knows how long this is going to last? And B, they want that visual of the biggest Royal Rumble ever with all the people with the hands and the yeeting.
Which you'll then go to WrestleMania, and he shouldn't be cooled off by then. No. And you're going to get all that at WrestleMania for whichever champion he faces.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, he just lost to Gunther. And I was like, yeah, he just lost to Gunther. Let's get him back in there and get his win this time in front of everybody. Because if he faces Cody, there's probably a split.
Yeah, well, that's not happening.
Right. So you got to have Gunther because he's definitely a heel, Gunther. And Jay's definitely the biggest babyface we've seen, like homegrown in forever. So let's do that. And let's get WrestleMania. I hate that they call it this Yeet Mania.
Yeetomania?
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting WrestleMania. It's hard to predict how the match card's going to shape up. But again, we've been saying it for months now. There's so many different directions you go, and I don't think there's too many bad ways you can go. But we will talk about the Royal Rumble predictions in depth in the extended version of this podcast, patreon.com/Iron Wrestling. If you want to hear all the stuff that we're not going to talk about here on the Freebird Show, if you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you download podcasts, make sure if you haven't already subscribe, leave us a comment, leave us a 5-star review on one of the podcasting platforms that help create visibility for the podcast. But let's get right into some stuff. Listen, one of the first questions that comes to us, because we're going to prioritize Patreon questions first before we go to social media, comes from Kale right off the rip. He's starting out hot. He's asking...
KO. How is he after the
Kale.
Alabama Slam?
Kale. Why don't you text him? That's your friend.
I don't know.
He knows you.
KO.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were saying kale.
I did say Kale.
Oh, well, then why did you correct me?
Because I thought you said KO.
What are you talking about?
You said he went
Can
through
you
the
just
ladder.
read the question?
You're an idiot. You're an actual moron. Anyways, Kale said last week on Raw, JD McDonagh actually got really messed up in that Raw tag team match against the Viking Raiders. What do you think should be the way that they go about stopping matches going forward? So I've heard a lot of back and forth about this. And so some people are saying, and I think it's based on something that Moxley said a while ago when it came to injury protocol in AEW. Now it's rearing its head again, that they think that there should be a wrestler on a monitor in the back or someone with wrestling experience to watch and go, oh, that doesn't look right. Here's my opinion on that. I don't think that's a bad idea, but I will say this. As a wrestler who communicates with other wrestlers on a regular basis and sits in the back and watches a monitor just as a fan and a wrestler to critique things, to make sure my friends are doing cool, like what cool shit they're doing, there are many times where a guy will look like he got messed up and I'm like, oh, God, how bad was that? Not to where I'm like, oh, is he injured? But sometimes it'll be that way. Like, a couple guys yesterday took some Saitos, and I was like, holy crap. And they come to the back. I'm like, how did that Saito feel? I'm like, oh, I was fine. I took a suplex in my 6-man tag match this weekend in Alpha 1. I took
your first bump in a long time, right?
This weekend was my first bumps. Yeah. And I felt fine, surprisingly, following that surgery that I had a couple months ago. And, I took like a spinning heel kick. And I took a big Saito from Philly and Marino, and I could tell that it felt like it looked gross, okay? And so I got to the back and everybody was talking about it, but I was fine. So there are often times where we fool the wrestlers, and I think if you're good at what you do and you are good at picking up when guys actually get hurt, or if you've been in a situation where you've actually been hurt, I think that helps your selling as a performer. You know how it actually feels when you're going through an injury, and so you try to replicate that. I did that after I had a concussion, knowing that with my brain bleed 20 years ago, that it caused me to go into seizures and have convulsions. And so when I did an angle on TV, they thought I was concussed. I said, let me fake like I'm having a seizure because I want people to buy into this as like a real thing. Because if it was real, I know that there's a possibility that I can have a seizure. So, I mean, yeah, it would be great to have like wrestlers watching a monitor or something, but I still don't think that's foolproof. Like, and you're always going to have a situation where, if you're an athlete, you don't want to stop, whether you realize you're hurt or not. And again, I know from personal experience, there have been times where I've been unconscious but still moving around. The lights are on, but no one's home. And they ask me, are you okay? And I say, yep. And I don't remember saying yep. And the match keeps going. So it's like it's hard to say where you draw the line. It's a case-by-case situation. I mean, WWE has doctors at ringside. I'm sure there's wrestlers watching on the monitors in the back. Michael Cole's been around for years. You could tell when the JD thing happened, he was like, yo, JD's really hurt. We need someone out here immediately to check on him.
Well, you and I stopped the podcast because I said, hey, man, you got to check this out. Like,
yeah.
You were talking and looking at me, and I was looking at the TV, not being able to believe what I just saw.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty brutal, and hopefully, he recovers soon.
I thought concussion, man. I thought he hit his head. I thought it whiplashed off the table, and then come to find out, it's a punctured lung and some broken ribs. And I don't know. You've had broken ribs? Did we talk about
I've
this?
I've had a couple broken ribs.
Yeah,
and
me
so,
too.
And I feel like
it
was probably like an upper rib based on the way he hit.
Yeah.
But again, like I don't know if there's any 100% foolproof way of doing things. Now there's
now
a way.
Look, when you get hurt, your immediate instinct, I believe any athletes, is to say, no, I'm not hurt. One, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
You don't ever want to look like you got hurt. And two, you want to continue with what you're doing because that's why you're where you are and you're not just in the backyard doing it.
Yeah.
So I understand all that. I understand that somebody should be there. I think the match should stop. I don't know how you judge, though, that in a sport that's not an actual sport,
Sure.
things that are choreographed, So it's very hard to tell the difference.
But also there have been moments like, and I don't want to pick on AEW specifically, but there have been a couple times where guys were clearly knocked out in the middle of the ring, and dudes kept running spots around them, and you know what I mean? Like, and so how, as someone in that match, do you not realize that, like, a guy is out? Maybe you don't see it in that moment, and then you see it later. But if you're a ref in that match, you probably know that, like, okay, these guys are selling or whatever, but, like, it's not normal to just be laying unconscious while guys are running spots around you. That seems very, very strange. So I don't know. It's a case-by-case situation, and I don't know if there's a foolproof answer for it. We all just have to be mindful and pay attention, and also listen. As an athlete, not just in wrestling.
How does it happen in UFC?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
How does the ref know, okay, I have to step in here?
Well, but I mean, there's a difference.
Look, they could have stepped in and said, okay, the match is over, the War Raiders win, or the War Raiders win.
Sure.
And then that wouldn't have changed anything because they were going to win anyways.
Right. Well, but again, in a real sport, there are real things that you could look for to be like, yeah, I'm stopping the match. But in wrestling, there are wrestlers who will sell in a very realistic way to where like, oh, he's just selling, and that's what he does to make it more believable. Or if he's not, you go to talk to him, and again, it's like, yeah, I'm fine, and he's not. Or they give you the squeeze, and you squeeze back, and it's like, okay, keep going. So it's so hard to determine, like, how you're supposed to do this. But like I was going to say, this is what we sign up for, as not just a wrestler, but as an athlete. I would imagine, I'm not a football guy, but, like, I mean, look how hard football is, right? Like,
so hard.
I don't know why you made it a sexual thing.
I didn't.
But, like, it's like you go into football knowing that in some form or fashion you may get, hurt either a little bit or pretty severe. And, I mean, you're going to walk away with damage regardless, right? Like, you're not going to walk away unscathed unless maybe you're the punter. I don't know. Like, you might be in a little bit more shape. I'm sure Pat McAfee feels pretty okay, but he still was taking bumps and tackles and stuff, So, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know how you call it. If someone has a proper answer, please give it to me. But I feel like what both AEW and WWE are doing right now is, like, the best proper protocol you could do, and it's way better than it used to be back in the day. And listen, granted, the guys weren't doing the type of risks that we're doing now, but still, I mean, think about when Foley went off the Hell in a Cell. Any motherfucker go back in time and talk about how they didn't have a doctor, but the chiropractor out there working with Mick Foley? Hello, that wasn't a doctor. He was like a chiropractor guy. So it's like the precautions weren't really in place the way they are now. Like, these guys are being treated at the best levels all around. So I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. That's my rambling.
Yeah. Well, it was a rambling. And we just we wish all the best to everyone.
Josh Excellence over on Patreon said, did either of you ever work any shows with Ryback? And if so, did he attempt to eat you? Unfortunately, I never had the pleasure of working on a show with Ryback. I think I know one of his only, it might have been his only indie wrestling shows was at a Pro Wrestling Syndicate and or Wrestle Pro show. I may or may not have been working for the company at the time and just not booked that month. So that's a thing that I know happened pretty quickly after he was released. But yeah, I've never been around Ryback, and I mean, I know Matt Roby, good friend of the show, former guest of the show, also wrestles as Rex Brodie. He roommated with Ryback. He roomed with Ryback back in like FCW days, and he had nothing but good things to say about Ryback. But I mean, he just strikes me based on his social media presence as a guy that I don't think I would want to talk to. What are your thoughts? I know you've never done a show with Ryback, yeah. Thoughts as a person? I see you watching a lot of his burger videos and like him eating stuff. They come up in your YouTube feed.
Yeah, he eats food. Sometimes I watch it. Most times I don't because. Oh, here's what I like about his food reviews, is that he eats like the whole thing, and a lot of guys they take like a couple bites and then they make a judgment. So, Ryback eats a lot, and he's got some cute dogs.
Does he?
Yeah.
I don't know about
There's
that.
like 3 or 4 Frenchies. Do you know what a Frenchie is?
Like a French
Kiss.
poodle.
French bulldog.
Oh, okay.
Like what the Gargano.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, one of those $8,000 dogs.
I think that's a low figure that they're throwing out there.
$18,000 dogs.
Eric says, "Do you think winning the Rumble has anything to do with Charlotte getting divorced?" No. What?
Eric winning the Rumble because he won the game, or
I think he just means. I don't know what you mean, Eric. Actually, like I'm trying to figure out how I'm supposed to interpret this. Josh Excellence follows up with, piggybacking off of Eric's question, was that the real Charlotte at the Rumble, or is this one of those situations like when the Ultimate Warrior died and was replaced by a different wrestler? And then Eric said, piggybacking off of Josh's question, is your mic on? Fuck you, first of all, Eric.
I don't even see the light moving.
It's
Okay,
on.
there
And
it is.
second of all, it does appear as though Charlotte maybe had some work done, if that's what you're saying. But physically, she looks like she's in tremendous shape. And when it comes to big match scenarios, Charlotte always delivers. Was it the person that I, as a fan, would have liked to have won the match? No. In fact, going into it, I said the only person that could win this match that I would probably go meh about the victory was Charlotte Flair. But, it is what it is. It seems like they're probably going to do her and Tiffany.
Dude,
And,
yeah, that's why I feel like that's the wrong answer. Because bringing Charlotte back, there's probably no bigger star in the women's division than Charlotte. She's got the best history, and also her and Tiffany was what I wanted.
Yeah.
I want to see that match. So I was happy she won because I'm sure that's the way they're going. If not, if they go with Rhea, that's going to be a great match. But I've been looking forward to the battle of these beautiful moonsaults.
Yeah, they won't do Rhea. It's gonna be something fresh. Again, I'm still hoping for a Rhea Bianca, and I don't know how they would get there, but that's
Well,
what
they're
I
not
wanna
gonna.
see. You don't think so? What's it gonna be on the other side then?
Rhea
And who's credible?
Liv
That
Morgan.
really?
Yeah,
Okay,
because they haven't done that recently.
We're gonna go back to that. Okay.
Oh, Nia Jax.
Oh boy. Let's see who else we got here. Pete from the Patreon says, again, listen, I don't mind the ridiculous question, but come on! Have you wrestled anyone in a hotel bed match lately? No, but there's always a possibility. I will be in Milwaukee this weekend for pro wrestling, Ruthless Pro Wrestling, defending my Ruthless Pro Tag Team Championships with my brother, and I will also happen to see for the first time in person Josh Excellence. I will meet him at the show
In a hotel bed match?
Well, what I was going to say was, if he's up for it, I will take on a challenge, and I think that would be an interesting first encounter.
Okay. Did he tag you in that, or was he asking both of us?
I think.
'Cause
Well,
I did a hotel bed match just recently.
really,
Yeah.
was there anybody punched in the buttocks?
That's my finish. Some people come. I punch in the butt.
Oh boy, well, who was in this hotel bed match?
I can't tell you. They were under a mask.
All
It
right.
had one of them strap ball things in the mouth. And leather.
Let's make this serious for a second. We got a question from Mike Cochran. He said, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to reach out to him because I feel like we shouldn't just address this on the show. Have you ever been so close to the edge of life's cliff and feel the rocks crumbling beneath you? If so, how did you manage the situation? Because I'm not doing well right now at all. First of all, thank you for sending this question. But also, second, maybe message someone directly if this is like a real thing you're going through. Because, I'm glad I saw this. We did get a lot of questions this week. And, I feel like when I've been in situations that sound like yours, what it comes down to is just my social circle of friends. People that I know I can rely on, people that I can trust, lean on, confide in. and I think they've helped me through my toughest of times. I'm thankful now that I'm closer to some of my family members that I can rely on them as well. But, when I wasn't on the best of terms with my family, it was really the family that I chose, which was my friends, fans, people from Patreon, communicating with me and stuff. And I'm very, very thankful for all those things. But, in situations where you may or may not have that, or you're not getting the answers you're looking for, I think it's time to, maybe seek professional help and try to talk to like a therapist or something. And, again, there's no specifics here. I didn't know if you wanted to delve into those, but, whatever it is you're going through, things get better, and things get better quicker if you look to finding the help that can expedite that process. What say you, Aaron?
I say that thanks for reaching out again. I don't know that if this is a real thing, then everything you said right now, I can't say anything other than that. So,
yeah. Eric actually from Patreon followed up and said, "I really wanted to do a Creed reference right here, but Greg's got a whole community of people that will listen. We are here." So, I mean, look, see, like they don't even know each other, and we're reaching out to Mike already. So, I'm going to message you directly, my friend, and just hang in there, man. Things get better. Eric Phillips also said, "What's your opinion on the whole Drew McIntyre situation? Also the Myles Garrett situation. Also, why is Trump trying to get rid of DEI, Johnny Gargano, and Ciampa?" Okay. All right.
I've made that same joke earlier this weekend, so I like that.
Why don't you say something about the Myles Garrett situation, because I have no idea what's happening.
Myles Garrett is part owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers and the defensive standout for the Cleveland Browns. We drafted him years ago. He's been our number one player, maybe the greatest of all time to put on a Cleveland Browns uniform. But he requested to be traded officially today. So he said he wants to play somewhere that has the desire to win.
Oh.
And doesn't feel like Cleveland has that desire anymore.
So what did it take him to realize that? Did he look back in the last 50-ish years of Browns football and finally
4 out of the last 5 they've been in the playoffs.
These guys haven't won any championships in 5 to 7 decades. That's crazy.
Neither of you.
I'm not a professional football
you're not
player.
professional, yeah.
I'm a professional wrestler, and all that is
Barely.
predetermined. Every championship I've won, someone underlined my name, brother. Okay? I'm just throwing it out there. All right?
They meant to cross it off, and it looked like it was underlined.
And then they just went with it. They didn't want to make me feel bad because I had cerebral palsy. Opinion on the whole Drew McIntyre situation. So, for those of you who don't know, supposedly Drew McIntyre is upset with LA Knight based on the fact that somehow the spot with Damian Priest eliminating Drew McIntyre got a little botched. Now, I didn't really notice it the first time, but if you go back and watch, there's a little bit of a collision as Damian Priest is going to eliminate Drew McIntyre with LA Knight. And from what you're reading on the internet, if you were to believe what the internet says, which throwing it out there now, I really popped when Michael Cole said on commentary as Alexa Bliss comes out she wasn't supposed to be coming back. What? I thought she wasn't coming back.
As soon as I heard she wasn't coming back, I go, there's another story they planted.
Yeah.
Because it keeps being Meltzer that reports these things.
Right.
Oh, dude, man, you're going to have to get a second source instead of just running and publishing shit.
So, going back and watching the spot, apparently, according to those on the internet, Drew was mad at someone for, quote-unquote, going into business for themselves. And looking at what was happening in the ring, it appeared as though LA Knight was trying to do some sort of thing with Logan Paul. But it was I don't know if it was supposed to be planned. But all I know is there was an elimination happened at the same time that he was trying to take center stage with Paul. And I honestly don't remember it being followed up with anything. I guess I'd have to go back and watch. I just rewatched the clip a few times of Drew being eliminated. So
it looked a little clunky.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, it looked a little clunky. I looked over at Podcast Superstar Jerry. He looked over at me. And then I said, man, Greg talks about this all the time. LA Knight.
Don't even say it. We'll expand upon it on Patreon. We'll leave it at that.
Well, then I wanted to answer this guy's question.
But I'm saying I don't. This guy is Eric. Okay.
Eric.
Yeah. So, for those of you that want to hear in depth, like I've heard some things, I know some things. We'll talk about it in the extended version over on Patreon. Who else do we got here with the questions? Michael Kinch says, were you happy that Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble? Yes, and we'll talk about the Royal Rumble in the extended version. I don't even know how to say this name. Balthazar Nikovic?
Balthazar.
Okay, thank you. What restaurant do you think is overrated? Right off the top of my head,
Outback.
Really? I like Outback.
They suck.
I like Outback.
I never got a good meal from them.
Did you ever just have a steak and potato?
I've had steak and potato.
Have you had it from Outback?
Yes, that's what I mean.
You don't think it's good?
No.
You're an idiot.
No, I think they use kangaroo.
That's not true. We don't endorse what Aaron's saying here. I think Ruby Tuesdays is pretty overrated, if I'm being honest.
Man, if I've been there in the past 20 years, I could either agree or disagree.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've never gotten excited when someone's like...
TGI Fridays, Ruby Tuesdays.
Yeah.
The Wednesday Whopper from Burger King. I mean, it's all the same.
TGI Fridays is another one where I'm just like, I don't even get excited about. When Friendlies was a thing, I didn't really get excited about Friendlies. Yeah. I don't know. Those would be right off the top of my head that I'm not a fan of. Kim Talby says, what's your favorite John Cena match? Favorite? I got to narrow it down to one. What? Who?
Shawn Michaels. Stop bullshitting the people. We know.
I have a bias for that one, but not the one that happened on Raw.
Not the
one at WrestleMania 23. I do like that one. Is it my favorite though? I don't know. Shockingly, and I'd have to go back and rewatch them. One that I really, really used to watch a lot when I was younger, that I enjoyed. So I think that it could be in the running. Is John Cena versus The Undertaker for Vengeance 2003. And if you know anything about my backstory, I watched a lot of Vengeance 2003 because that's when Vince McMahon wrestled Zach Gowen. And I don't know, I think that match between Undertaker and John Cena had a lot of good build. It felt like one of John's first real big pay-per-view matches, not counting the match that he had a couple months earlier with Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. That's where in the rap battles leading up to that, he came up with the phrase FU for his finishing move because he was going up against Brock, who had the F5. But I always really enjoyed that match with The Undertaker. Also, again, thinking back to old John Cena, anything that he did with Kurt Angle back in the day, not necessarily his first match, but when they started working pay-per-views against each other. And I really enjoyed, and I watched a lot of his match with Edge. Royal Rumble 2006, I think, is a kind of underrated match. But also, fast forward, when they did the TLC match later that year, I also thought that was really good. So a lot of older John Cena matches that I think some people might be shocked to hear. What about you?
The Firefly Funhouse match?
That's not even a real match.
Okay, I'm not alled to answer, I guess.
No, go ahead.
Not allowed to have my own
That's fine.
opinions over here.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Let's just hear Greg's stuff.
Sure.
And any match he had with KO, I thought was good because it was really cool the way that they were introducing KO. I also liked his match with Sammy. That was part of the U.S. Open Challenge.
Okay.
And Sammy hurt his arm or whatever right away.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was a great way to introduce Sammy, not by hurting his arm, but by being a part of that challenge. And Sammy continuing through it and finishing the match was something else.
Yeah, his whole U.S. title run, the later one with the challenges, was really, really good stuff. Some of his best work, some of his more innovative stuff.
And I really think one of the titles should be an open challenge. Like every week it's defended and make that the main title on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't always have to have the champion, the world heavyweight or undisputed. Why is one called the undisputed champion when there's two world champions? That's not undisputed. There's a dispute there.
That's still a gripe that I have with WWE. Why does one?
You just like that name? Ooh, undisputed. That sounds cool.
But it's like, why is like one of the women's title just the WWE and then one's of the world? Like I don't know. I don't get it. Let's see. Eric LeBoy says, favorite Royal Rumble match? Mine is the 92 event. I mean, or he didn't say match specifically. He said 92 events. So, I mean, 92 is hard to mess with for sure. If you go top to bottom, all around favorite Rumble. I have an emotional investment. While I know it's not the best Rumble, in the 1991 Rumble, because that's the first Rumble I ever watched. I watched the 2000 Rumble a lot, and honestly, not the Rumble itself was super great. Like, it was fine, but I think from top to bottom, especially as a kid that grew up in that era, I would say the 2000 Rumble might be my favorite one. Like, I mean, look at what you had on it. You had the first ever tables match between the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys. You had that street fight between Cactus Jack and Triple H, which may be the best championship match in the history of the Royal Rumble. You had the Royal Rumble itself, where it came down to that weird close finish with The Rock and Big Show. There's like a decent APA versus New Age Outlaws match on that show. And who could forget the highlight, the Miss Royal Rumble 2000 bikini contest with the true and absolute winner, who should have definitely prevailed, Mae Young, winning that contest. But
is that where she pulled her puppies out or no?
It sure is. Yeah. Well, she
was
was wearing
so hot.
Prosthetic boobs.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Man, what I wouldn't have given to suck on one of those.
Okay. What did you think was the best Royal Rumble?
Obviously 92, but I think it was 95, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot.
Oh, yeah.
So those are my top two right there. And then maybe Prisoner of the Moment, but this past week was excellent. This most recent Rumble.
I don't disagree.
And let me also say, best women's Rumble I've seen too.
I was going to say that. I do think it was the best Rumble. Like, because there's been a couple of years where it's been a little choppy.
Choppy, pee-pee.
Yeah. But this one was pretty rock solid, I'd say. Kind of like I'm feeling right now. What else do we have here as far as questions? I could go back in the archives from a couple weeks ago too, but we got to keep this short. We're on a time crunch today.
What's call time for you?
It might be sooner than I thought because, so for those of you, I mean, obviously you don't know because I haven't said anything. It's Monday as we record, and I am going to be going to Raw to support my good, close, personal friend, Johnny Gargano, and he was supposed to be in the post-show dark match, but now I just got a text that said, might be in the pre-show dark match, which kind of ruins my plans of not getting there at 7:30. I would imagine that's going to be a 7:45 thing. So that's a real thing.
Hey, why don't you just leave your fanny pack in the car this time?
Yeah, it really creates a lot of I got a better fanny pack now that doesn't have a hole in it and doesn't have any batteries in it.
Yeah, what about toothpicks that could poke the guy?
No. I do have some of those. Yeah.
Okay, well, look, I know we have other questions and stuff, and we're on a time crunch, but I think we got to talk about Triple H going into the Hall of Fame.
That is a thing that got announced, yeah.
And I want to do a whole episode on Triple H next week.
You know what? We should talk a little bit about the Triple H situation, and I think we should do that after we come back from a commercial break, pay some bills. But, yeah, I agree. We definitely need to dedicate a whole podcast to that, but it's worth talking about.
You know what we should dedicate a whole podcast to?
What's that?
I have a good buddy, and I believe he deserves to go into the Hall of Fame.
Really? Who is that?
Yeah, his name's Juan.
Oh, Juan.
I don't know if you've heard of him before, but he gives $10 off when you mention Iron On.
I'm sorry. The only one I know is Juan Ortiz, and he gives $20 off.
He's doing 20? That's double what I believe he should be giving.
Well, yeah, he does. He does $20 off.
He should give $10 off, and then give me the other 10.
You're probably thinking, like, what does he give $20 off of? Well, he does designs. He's the owner and operator of the Dead Designs, which, by the way, hey, spoiler, if you're not in the big boy tiers over on Patreon, big boy and big girls, you're going to be missing out on some great artwork that's going to be featured on an item that we're going to be sending out for the next Patreon big tier members, Howard Animal Steel. You're going to really regret this one. I actually just finally placed the order. We've had a lot of problems with that December package, but it's going out, and you're going to lose. You snoozed and you loosed. That's a real word that I just said, loosed. And so Juan Ortiz is not a loser, and you could not be a loser as well if you invest in Juan Ortiz and his beautiful, beautiful artwork. What kind of artwork can you get from Juan Ortiz?
Clouds.
You could just get him painting. I mean, I could do just clouds by themselves for you.
Yeah, but you're no Juan.
No, I have not created clouds for some of the most important people in professional wrestling, and not all his artworks have been clouds for people, but like, you know, Ethan Page and Damian Priest and The Undertaker and Penta.
So both the regular Undertaker and the, what do they call the Damian Priest?
I believe the internet, not us, but the internet calls him the bisexual Undertaker.
Not what I was thinking, but okay.
Penta, he's a guy. Cody Rhodes, he's done artwork for him. And that's just a handful of the names that he's worked with. They spread all across the major promotions, WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and beyond. So, you know, what are you waiting for?
I got an ideal.
I don't want to hear your ideal.
2 clouds.
No.
Penta
Stop
is
it.
walking with his abuelo, and they were fishing. And they're holding fishing poles.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, Penta turns and gives his abuelo the sling blade. And then a Mexican destroyer from one cloud to the other.
Man, that's wild. And you're wild. You're too wild if you're thinking about not getting something from Juan Ortiz. It's a new year, new you. Get something from Juan Ortiz. Invest in yourself. Invest in the ones you love with some beautiful artwork from Of the Dead Designs. Find him right now and contact him on Instagram at Of the Dead Designs. Go to his Facebook, facebook.com/ofthedeaddesigns, or go to his website, ofthedead.weebly.com, because Of the Dead Designs is bringing artwork to life. And we're back. And I think a great way to end this show before we go to the extended version is to talk about the announcement this past week. Caught him off guard at a town hall meeting at the WWE headquarters. Triple H was surprised by both The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. They made a executive decision and decided that the headliner for the 2025 Hall of Fame was going to be the Game himself. The cerebral palsy assassin is me, but the cerebral assassin is Triple H, and he's going into the Hall of Fame.
I think it's deserved. I think it's bullshit that he didn't know. I mean, they planned this shit out, you know.
What?
Like, he's the headliner. You know what I mean? Like, what if he was like, all right, we already contacted... Who? Give me somebody.
Well, I would imagine that they already saw that, like, he was making plans for some ideas for people, and they were like, hey, before he contacts this person,
before
we
you
should
talk
probably...
to Duggan, hang on.
Duggan's already in the Hall of Fame.
Before you talk to Bob Holly...
Really? These are the guys for headlining the Hall of Fame?
I don't know. Give me somebody. I said give me somebody. You didn't, so I just made up 2 names.
As a headliner.
The Rock.
Yeah, it's a pretty good choice.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
No.
The Nation didn't get in? He's not in with them?
No.
I thought that'd be a great way to get Owen Hart into the Hall of Fame. You know, you get the Black Heart.
Yeah, but I
Why
don't
did they call him the Black Heart? Because...
when he was in the Nation?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of a reason why they would call him that. It doesn't really make sense.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyways, yeah. Hey, Triple H deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and you said it better off air. You said it. You know, you said everything that needed to be said. So say it again. Say it again. Why do you think Triple H needs to be in the Hall of Fame?
Well, not just for what he did in the ring and as a character, Triple H can be in the Hall of Fame, but what he's done for the ring and for the WWE and for professional wrestling. As Paul Levesque, he could go in. He'd go in as Triple H this year, go in as Paul Levesque next year, and then go in with as what was it, the Authority?
Yeah.
He could go in with the McMahon-Helmsley regime.
Evolution?
The corporate ministry, the corporation.
Wow. Some deep cuts.
Him and Big Vis. Yeah.
Oh, my God. I guess they were technically in a stable together. Holy shit.
What a weird stable. It was like Ken Shamrock, Viscera, Midian, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon.
No, Stephanie wasn't in that.
Road Dogg.
Road Dogg was not in that.
Damian Demento.
Now you're just making up people.
Walker, Texas Ranger.
What?
Yeah, remember he was there for the coffin match.
That was 5 years earlier.
Yeah. Took him that long to get in.
Oh, boy. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what the rest of the Hall of Fame class looks like. And, I'm pumped Triple H is going in. Like, the dude has had a career like no other. One of the best heels in the history of WWE. Is, again, he was especially one of the top guys during my most, my most budding time as a wrestling fan, right? Like, I'm a teenager, and I'm starting to understand the ins and outs of wrestling. And I remember, I've said it before, I've said it again on the show, going to WrestleMania 2000, even though it's notoriously a bad show. I remember me and my friends in the 6th grade lunch table, we all had a
ham sandwich.
Well, no, that would have been a good meal at the lunch table, but a lot of bad, terrible, burnt pizza. We made a pact that whoever would win the Fatal 4-Way at WrestleMania 2000, because it was such a big match, and it would be hard to win. There's 4 guys in one match.
Okay.
Whoever won that match,
yeah,
no matter what, that would be our favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
And Triple H won that match, and we're like, he's the fucking man.
Yeah.
Triple H is great. He beat the Big Show, Mick Foley, and The Rock in one night.
And
That's crazy.
a McMahon in every corner.
And McMahon in every corner.
And Stevie Richards.
I thought
in the video game.
In the video game. I thought for sure Mick Foley would have the advantage with someone as diabolical as Lyndon McMahon in his corner, but
she didn't even hand him the sock.
she didn't really contribute much. That's for sure.
Well, she's going to take down our educational system.
All right. Well, that's for another podcast, but hey, there's going to be an extended version over on patreon.com/irononwrestling where you can hear our thoughts on the Royal Rumble. So what are you waiting for? Sign up for Patreon. It's the best way to support the show. $3 gets you in the door. $5 gets you video. $9 gets you involved with bonus podcast subjects and a live chat once a month.
$10 gets you dick pic.
$10 is not a real tier that we have, but I would imagine if that's what Aaron is offering, he could definitely offer that on the $25 tier,
Not
the
saying
$29
it'll be mine,
tier. Okay, well,
Get you one that's worth looking at.
Apparently Google is not worth your time. Just sign up for our Patreon, and somehow we'll get you penis pictures. Patreon.com/irononwrestling. Follow the show at Iron on Wrestling on social media. Subscribe if you haven't already. Support our YouTube channel. And, you can find me on social media. I am Gregory Iron on X, Gregory_Iron on Instagram, Facebook.com/The Handicapped Hero. Contact me for motivational speaking, pro wrestling shows, and pro wrestling seminars, which I did this past weekend, and it was really, really great, and I really enjoyed it. ProWrestlingTees.com/Gregory Iron for my shirts, Aaron shirts, Iron on Wrestling shirts. Cameo, if you want a shout out of some sort from me, I can do that for you. It's almost Valentine's Day. Bummer, but not a bummer if you get a cameo from me. Aaron, what would you like to plug?
Your opponent this weekend, I want to plug his socials. Harley Davidson, his brother Harvey, or whatever they were.
What'd you say? Harley Davidson, his brother Harvey?
Harvey? What's his brother?
One is named Harley.
Yeah.
And the other is named Davidson.
Wait, his first name's Davidson?
Yes. You're just now realizing that?
I thought one of the guys' names was Harley Davidson.
No,
Oh,
they're twins.
Never mind then.
One is named Harley.
Yeah, I'm over him now.
Yes, these are my twin sons, Harley and Davidson.
I like that.
All right.
More than I should. I just want to give a shout out to my current favorite song right now. It's called Sticky by Tyler, the Creator, and Glorilla, and maybe Red Foxy or whatever.
Red Foxy.
Sexy Red, somebody.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, good shit. Lil Wayne might be in there too, you know.
Lil Wayne, the worst
Better
performer
get
in
him
the
up.
history of WrestleMania.
Yeah, I know, right?
How he trumped Kid Rock, I don't know, but
It trumped Kid Rock.
that was not
Nice one.
no pun intended.
Yeah.
And
then I'm on social media. You guys saw all my Royal Rumble predictions and thoughts as I was on the Blue Sky live blowing.
Well, hey, we're going to stop blowing you guys, but we do enjoy you. So come back next week and, support the show, and we'll support you. We got each other's back. And until next week.
Here's a blowjob. Goodbye.
No, only a kiss. Only a kiss.
Oh, we start
Consensual
off slow.
kiss.
Yeah.
Goodbye.